Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
In Numbers 16, which we looked at yesterday, Moses and Aaron had to deal with some very difficult people. If I'd been Moses when Korah rose up and said, "Why do you exalt yourself above the assembly of the Lord?" I would probably have given him all sorts of reasons that I was in charge. God called me from the burning bush. He sent me to Egypt to rescue you people from slavery. If I'd stayed where I was, I'd be happily herding sheep with my family, and you'd still be making bricks next to the Nile. I'm the one who held up my rod and parted the Red Sea. And remember that cloud and fire and rumblings of God on Mount Sinai? You people practically begged me to represent you before God then. And right now, I'm going to step back and let God strike you dead. Or by that time, I might have been so fed up with the whole thing, I would be ready to say, "Oh, you want the job? Go ahead, take it. I'll just stand by and see what happens." But Moses didn't do this. He says nothing. He falls on his face and lets God deal with it. And God sure dealt with it all right. He had the ground swallow up the perpetrators and zapped their followers with fire from heaven. The very next day, when the rest of the people who had not learned their lesson started complaining, Moses and Aaron didn't have to say anything then either. God took care of them. He started a plague and only stopped after killing off 14,700 of them because Aaron stood in the gap for them. Then God devised an interesting plan to get the people to stop complaining against His chosen leaders. He had all the tribal leaders place a rod before the tabernacle. The next day, Aaron's rod for the tribe of Levi, a dead walking stick, had sprouted and produced blossoms and almonds. That stopped their complaints and attacks on Moses and Aaron's authority right there. God defended His chosen leaders. He didn't let people get by with criticizing His servants. I think one reason was because Moses had the right perspective. He realized right off that when people attacked him, they were really attacking God. He knew he was following God's directions. So many times it says, "Just as the Lord commanded him, so he did." He knew he was doing God's will. So if someone had a problem with that, they had a problem with God, and they just have to take it up with Him. One reason he remained sane through the 40 years of leading this whiny, stiff-necked, hard-hearted people was because he didn't take it personally. In fact, one reason he and Aaron fell on their face before God when someone was complaining, which they seemed to do often, I think it was to duck because they knew God was about to strike some people down and they didn't want to get in the way. They knew that their insults to His holiness would not go unpunished. When we're doing what we know is right and people attack us, do we go on the defensive or do we trust our Lord to defend us? Do we let our pride do the talking or do we fall on our face before God and allow Him to do the talking for us?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.